Can you tell us a bit more about how the work-life balance works in PwC, what it's like as an audit, and what are the kind of roles and projects that are more demanding compared to others inside PwC, for example?
Yeah, that sounds good. I think notoriously the Big Four is pretty famous for a bad work-life balance, right? It's up there with lawyers and investment bankers. I don't think it's as bad as investment bankers. I think they have it the worst, but it's definitely up there. I think for your first couple of years, it is quite tough because the hours are long, and particularly in busy season. And when I talk about busy season, just for a bit of background, I guess, most companies have a December, 31st of December year end. And so their accounts will show kind of everything that's happened January to December. And then the following January and February, the auditors will come in and audit those financial statements. And because you've got to get that information to the market as quickly as possible, you've got to do a hell of a lot of work in those 2 months to check all those balances, because you've got to check a year's worth of transactions, on a sample basis in 2 months. So the hours can be pretty extreme in busy season. So they can be up at, for example, the one I just went through. The first couple of weeks is not too bad. The start of January, it's not too bad because you're kind of warming up. You're waiting for the client to prepare their own accounts. But in February, for example, the last three or four weeks, is up at 60 plus hours, pretty consistently, working the weekends as well. And I'd say that's pretty much a minimum, particularly in the last week as well. It goes to 12-hour days, I'd say, sometimes. But it really depends on the client you have. If you have a large, FTSE 100 or a large S&P 500 company, the hours will be longer than a kind of smaller private company, just because there's so much more work to be done. So work-life balance throughout the rest of the year, it's fairly okay. But the firms are actually taking on more clients at the moment. They're taking on more clients, and actually, I think more people are leaving, particularly now as well. So the work-life balance is kind of getting gradually worse. But the firm, the Big Four are investing a hell of a lot of money into various kind of initiatives and stuff like that. PwC in the UK, for example, announced a couple of months ago that it's half days on Friday during the summer, just to get people a slightly longer weekend and stuff like that. So in terms of the roles, I think audit, there's various kind of different departments. You kind of have audit, tax, valuations or deals, and consulting. Particularly for valuations and consulting, it's a bit bumpy because it depends really on when you win clients. So it can be quiet for a couple of months and it can be really busy for other months. But in audit, it's known to be kind of the busiest department. It's known to be kind of the worst hours, being honest. But it's more or less limited in most cases to that busy season. And that, like I said, I think the busiest clients are those larger FTSE 100s or the S&P 500s. If it's a listed company like Facebook or Tesla, it's going to be a lot busier. And also the banks as well. Any kind of banking, like HSBC and the various like NatWest, I've heard they could be pretty tough in terms of hours.